What's up, everybody? Chad Boyle, eXp Realty, Atlanta, Georgia. What I want to talk about today is tracking your numbers, and not just tracking, contacts and all that stuff, but tracking them in a meaningful way so that you can take this data and actually do something with it to improve your business. So, because if you think about it, you got your, at a high level, revenue, expenses, profit. That is your simple P&L. And so what we're most concerned about, of course, is revenue. Because whatever the revenue is, that's what the expenses get to be. Because you can only spend so much of your revenue because you have to make a profit. So the revenue, we have various sources, right? So you have many different sources. So one's, we'll take me for example, one is phone prospecting. So this is cold calling FSBOs, expireds, doing my follow-up. That's where I get a lot of my deals from. So second, open houses. I also get a lot of deals from open houses. And it's not just, hey, the people come in and, I meet with them, set a buyer's appointment, end up working with them. It's also, door knocking before the open house, inviting people to come, meeting people that way. Now, three, Facebook. So I've just now recently started advertising on Facebook, and there's activity going on there. I haven't closed a deal from it, but I have some leads that I am working currently. So that's another source of revenue. Fourth, and the last one that I track is referrals. And this could be my SOI, or someone refers someone to me. Either one of those I kind of count in that one bucket. So these are my four main sources of business. So this is where my revenue is going to come from here. So we should be tracking our activities related to these sources of revenue, because that's where our revenue is going to be. And we need to track it in a way to where we have levers to pull. So if we're not getting the results that we want, or we've fallen a little bit behind, we need to know what to do in order to impact that number to hit a certain revenue target. And there's a way we can do that. So with these sources in mind, we can track these four in a way that's going to allow us to take action on each one, depending on what our results are. Prospecting, open houses, Facebook, forgot to know, and referrals. So for each one of these, we got to track appointments set, appointments attended. How many do we convert into an agreement? Of those agreements, how many did we actually write a contract on? And of those contracts, how many closed? So we're going to track that for all of it. So that would be, and another thing is contacts. Like, okay, we were on the phone. How many contacts do we make? How many people do we talk to? Open houses, how many attendees came into the open house? Facebook, how many people responded to our ad? Referrals, how many people actually called us and we had a conversation about a referral? So basically for all four of these, we're going to track contacts, appointments set, appointments attended, agreements, contracts, closings. Okay, so we're going to track these particular ones for all of these in some form or fashion. Like for open houses, contacts, that might be the people that actually came to our open house. And Facebook contacts, that might be the people that responded to the ad. So, but it's still a variation of a contact. It's still the same thing. It's a starting point. Now, what these all are, sorry, let me do that again. These are all lag indicators. So the activity's done, and this is the result of it. We can't do anything about it. We can't change it. It's already in the past. There's nothing we can do about it. But what this can tell us is, I think one thing that this can tell us is this can identify, is there a skill problem that we have? Do we need to improve on skills? Or has our numbers gotten better, and so has our skills gotten better? I think it's that feedback that we get on these numbers. And again, we're not comparing to anyone else. We're just comparing to what we're doing. There's going to be ratios that you'll find as you start tracking these. Like, I take so many contacts to set an appointment. Out of all the appointments I actually set, I only go on this amount. And of these amount, I get an agreement, so a buyer agreement or a listing agreement out of this many appointments that I go on and on. So there's going to be ratios that you can track here over time, and that's an indicator and feedback on your skills. So there's also, in each one of these buckets, there are lead indicators, and these are things that we can track, that we can influence these numbers here. And so let me just explain what I'm kind of talking about here. So prospecting, hours calling or number of calls made. Really, in my head, I think they mean the same thing. They're just like, it's just a different representation. So like, I could call for an hour, or I could make 200 calls. It's going to be the same thing, because it's going to take me an hour to make 200 calls, and for me to make 200 calls, it's going to take an hour. So it's essentially saying the same thing. That's my call effort. So that's what I can control. Like, I can get up every day and I can control how many hours I'm on the phone. I can get up every day. I can control how many calls I make. And so then once I see these numbers here, like contacts, appointments set, these ratios that I have, if I want to increase these numbers, well, all I have to do is increase this input. So this is the input, this is the output. So these up here, this is a leading indicator. So if I say at this level of hours or calls, that turns into this many closings. I know if I want to increase closings, well, then I know exactly how many hours or calls I need to increase. So for open houses, I think there's a couple signs. And invites. So how many signs am I putting out prior to the open house? And then how many invites? So door knocking prior to the open house, how many invites am I handing out? So how many people am I speaking with and inviting them to the open house and actually handing them an invite? I can control both of those. And so based on how many signs I put out and how many doors I knock on and invite people in the immediate area, that's going to influence how many people attend, which that would kind of be our contact here, and then all these ratios here. So if I'm getting a result and then I want to increase that, well, I know that it's just going to be, I'm going to have to put out more signs, or I'm going to have to invite more people. Facebook, there's a couple here. So the two are ad spend. How many dollars am I spending on my advertising? And then also, how many attempts am I making to the people that respond to the ad? How many attempts am I making to get in contact with them so that I can have a phone conversation, which will turn into a contact, and then some of those will be appointments, and then on and on. And so I know if I want to increase my closings here based on my Facebook advertising, these are two levers I can, rely on. Ad spend, increase the amount of money I'm spending, or attempts, tweak my follow-up, whether it's email, text, or the combination of email, text, and phone calls. And then referrals. So referrals, it's of these people I'm asking for referrals, how many touches am I doing? And then I've even kind of broken that down between active touches and passive touches. So an active touch would be a phone call. So all these people that I'm calling for referrals, call them twice a year. So they'd get 2 active touches out of the phone calls. A pop by. So right before Easter, I went out and bought some chocolate bunnies, and I went and dropped those off. Some people were home, some people weren't, but they still got it. I left it at the door. So that I would call an active touch. I'm actually going to their house, knocking on their door, just, getting in front of them face to face. Passive touch, that would be like I mail them my postcard every month, so they're going to get 12 passive touches. Email, they get my monthly market update email. That's another 12 passive touches. So basically, these are the levers that I can turn and pull in order to impact these numbers here. Like, balancing this between what's the right amount of active touches and passive touches. Do I need more of, one versus the other? So this here is just kind of taking the thinking behind how I'm tracking my numbers and tracking both lag measures, so stuff that we can't influence, and then lead measures. These are things that we directly impact. We can direct impact how many hours we call. We can impact how much advertising we're spending, what the attempts are that we're doing to get in touch with the people who are responding to our ads. We can influence how many signs we're putting out, how many invites we're making before an open house, and then how many touches in our referral program. So this takes us from that revenue number down to our sources, and then the actual specific numbers that we can track and the items that we can influence in order to increase our revenue. So this was just kind of my high-level overview of the numbers that I'm tracking. This has been an iterative process ever since I've been in real estate. So I've been working on this, but it's kind of coming together now. So this is kind of part 1 of the video. Part 2, I'll show you the actual dashboard that I've created and am now using to track my numbers. So if you have any questions on any of this, drop it in the comments. Got a call coming in. Let me just decline that. Put it in the comments. I'm sure if you have a question, somebody else has a question. If you want to talk about this more, hit me up on Facebook. You can always call me, 678-761-2493. If you do know of anybody who is looking to buy, sell, or invest in real estate in the Atlanta area, go ahead, give me a call, text me, hit me up on Facebook. And then lastly, if you're not already a subscriber, just go ahead and hit that button now. It's real easy. And then be on the lookout for part 2 of this video, where we'll go over the dashboard and kind of a little more detail, kind of behind the scenes, how we collect the numbers to populate the dashboard. So thanks for watching, and have an awesome day.